Hello and welcome to Wellness Unplugged. Here we have honest conversations about life, mental health and everything in between. I'm Lesley, a counsellor with years of experience helping people navigate life's challenges, and I'm so glad you're joining me today. Today we're diving into a question that many of us have experienced at least one point or another. Why is it so hard to go back to work after a holiday? Whether you've just come off a long weekend, like the recent Easter holiday, or you're heading into another well-deserved public holiday, like Workers' Day, we've all experienced that sinking feeling when we realize it's time to trade in our relaxed holiday selves for the demands of our work self again. It's that nagging sense of dread that creeps up on you, and trust me, if you're feeling it, you're not alone. Today we're going to unpack the psychology behind why returning to work feels so tough after a break, and how you can really ease back into your routine without feeling overwhelmed. We'll dig into the brain science, the psychology of autonomy, and of course how to make the transition a bit smoother with some very practical, easy tips. Let's get right to it. Now, as I said, we're just coming off the Easter break and we're heading straight into Workers' Day, which might be giving you a little moment to recharge. Public holidays like this are really great for quickly recharging your batteries. A day or two off gives your brain just enough space to rest and reset without completely derailing your productivity. But longer holidays, like those much-needed summer breaks or extended time off, they're a completely different ballgame. They really give us the chance not just to recharge, but to reset, to reframe our work-life balance, and to reevaluate our relationship with work. And that's exactly why coming back after a longer holiday feels so much harder. When you're on holiday, you're in control. You wake up when you want, eat what you want, and choose how to spend your time. Whether you're exploring new places, chilling on the couch, or just taking a break from your usual responsibilities, you're in charge of how you feel. And for most of us, that autonomy, the ability to do what we want when we want, is deeply refreshing. But the moment you hit back to reality, something shifts in your brain. And it's not just about having to deal with a mountain of emails. Your brain has gotten used to a different rhythm. During holidays, your body and brain experiences a really nice spike of dopamine and serotonin, those feel-good chemicals that are tied to pleasure, relaxation, and novelty. That's why we all love that feeling of freedom that comes with a holiday, no matter how short or long. But the problem is, when you return to work, that rush of dopamine and serotonin disappear. It's not that you hate your job or that you're lazy. Far from it. It's just that your brain is accustomed to being in a reward state, where your needs are being met with very little effort. Then, when you come back to work, it's like your brain hits a wall. The novelty is gone, the rewards are smaller, and suddenly everything feels like a bit more of a grind. You're asking your brain to switch gears from pleasure to performance, and that's a really tough transition to make. Now, if you're listening to this and thinking, yeah, I just don't want to be back at work, that's completely normal. And let me tell you, it's not just about how much you hate your job, although sometimes it can be about that, but it's about what's happening in your brain. Your brain is a dopamine-driven machine. When you're on holiday, you're getting dopamine from novelty, from relaxation, from being in control of your time. But at work, well, work often doesn't trigger that same level of satisfaction. There are deadlines, expectations, and demands that feel, well, a little less rewarding. And when dopamine levels drop, motivation tends to drop with it. And that is why going back to the grindstone can feel physically exhausting and mentally draining. But wait, unfortunately, there's more to this than just dopamine. Another big factor in our post-holiday dread is autonomy. When we're on holiday, we're free. We make our own choices. No bosses, no meetings, no emails, just freedom. We can go where we want, eat what we want, and take naps when we want without feeling guilty. But when we return to work, that autonomy is gone. We have schedules, tasks, and sometimes a little voice inside our head saying we should be productive all the time. This loss of control over time can feel suffocating, and it's no wonder we struggle to adjust. The thing is, when we have longer breaks, like over holiday season or extended leave, we often get the space to reflect, and that can be both a good and a bad thing. We start to ask those big existential questions like, is this really what I want to be doing for the next 10 years? Is work fulfilling me, or am I just ticking boxes and getting through the day? Sometimes those thoughts are a sign that your brain is trying to tell you something. You might need a change, a shift in perspective, or maybe just better balance. But here's the kicker. This doesn't mean you hate your job or are destined for a breakdown. It just means that you've had a chance to pause and reassess. And let's face it, that's not always a bad thing. Maybe the answer is simply that you need a change of pace, a new project, or even just a different work routine. Whatever it is, these moments of reflection can be very powerful, even if they make returning to work feel like jumping into cold water. So what do we do about this? How do we avoid that post-holiday funk from turning into a long-term drag? Here's the first thing. Ease yourself in. If you can, try not to schedule yourself for a full-on workday the minute you're back. Give yourself a bit of time, a little grace. Ease into the workload. Take it slow for the first couple of days. It's okay if you're not firing on all cylinders immediately. Next, bring some of that holiday energy back with you. Keep a ritual that reminds you of the calm and freedom you had. Maybe it's enjoying your morning coffee outside instead of at your desk, or taking a break for a walk during lunch. If you carry over just a little piece of that holiday joy, it can really help you balance your routine. Lower your expectation. For the first few days at least. Your brain is recalibrating. You won't be at your most productive right away, and that's okay. Don't expect to hit the ground running. Give yourself permission to feel the adjustment period. And this is the big one. Watch out for the guilt. It's easy to feel bad for not being more excited to return to work, but don't let that guilt pile on you and become stress. Taking time to recharge is necessary, especially for long-term productivity and well-being. Remember, rest doesn't mean you're ungrateful for your job. It simply means you're human. Finally, use your discomfort as a signal. If you're constantly feeling miserable about returning to work after time off, it might be time to dig a little deeper. Are you really unhappy? Are you burnt out? Or is it just your brain craving more freedom and less structure? Take the time to listen to those feelings. They might offer valuable insight into what you need to change. So, to sum up, it's not about how much you miss your holiday or how much you dread work. It's about the way your brain has shifted gears, from the freedom and relaxation of your holiday back to the structure and responsibility of your job. It's natural to feel this resistance, and understanding the psychology behind it can help you navigate the transition with a little more ease. Remember, it's not that you hate your work, it's that your brain needs time to recalibrate. If you've been feeling that post-holiday funk, take a moment to be kind to yourself. Ease back in, lower those expectations, and use the discomfort as a sign to reassess what you really need from your work-life balance. Small changes can make huge differences in how we feel. So don't be afraid to implement those little bits of holiday joy into your routine. If you have any thoughts, questions, or would just like to reach out for a chat, don't hesitate to contact me. You can find me on info@lesleyharvey.co.za. I'd love to hear how you handle your transitions back to work, and if you have any tips or experiences to share with listeners. And I'd like to leave you with a thought. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is relax. Thanks, Mark Black. Thanks so much for joining me on Wellness Unplugged. Until next time, unplug, recharge, and remember, your wellness matters more than you think.
The radio station you can't live without. This is your radio.
This is South Coast Radio.